Privada Eswatini TV. I am Nundumiso Vilagati alongside Namagcabiso Ngambule. Let's take a look at our top stories. The Majesties have blessed the hosting of the National Easter Service for this year. Their Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Information, Communication and Technology says the country needs a mobile food laboratory to address the challenges faced in determining food safety. The Ministry of Agriculture will meet its counterparts in the Republic of South Africa in a bid to have agricultural produce import requirements relaxed for Eswatini. The news in detail. Their Majesties have blessed the hosting of the National Easter Service for this year. The service will be held from the 7th of April at the National Church in Lobamba. It will then proceed to Somhlo National Stadium on Sunday, the 9th of April, and will end with a segment where pastors will bid farewell to their Majesties.
As the nation prepares for the Easter holidays, the Minister of Home Affairs, Her Royal Highness Princess Lindiwe, and the executive of the three church bodies in the country convened a press briefing at Eswatini Royal Residence to officially announce that their Majesties have blessed the hosting of this year's Easter services. The announcement was made by the President of the League of Churches, Archbishop Samson Tlachwago, who made use of the gathering to urge all those who will attend the service to conduct themselves honorably in the presence of their Majesties.
Kwatiswe makholwa onke la kangwane nangaphandle kwaleli kuthi sethi inkonzo tekufa nekuvuka kwenkosi yethu Jesu Kristu. Leti inkonzo ke inkonzo yekufa kwakhe emakhosi abulisisa ukuthi afe enkanini esontweni lesive bese uvuka estadium. Inkonzo yekufa kwakhe bekunene siyakuyigubha mhla ka-7 kuye April sikhuphe esontweni lesive. Sicela emakholo abasahleli phansi nga-10 sesilindele kufika kwemakhosi. Kufika kwemakhosi kusho ukucala kwenkonzo. Kanjalo nangelisonto sesiyawugubha kuvuka kwakhe. Sicela emakholo nga-10 mhla ka-9 abasahleli phansi asalindile kufika kwemakhosi. Kufika kwemakhosi kuyaba kushothi siyocala yona inkonzo. Siyacela ke nenhlonipho emakhosi nasefikile kube denalo kuyaluka. Sive sihlale phansi aze emakhosi ahambe sive solo sihleli phansi. Siyacela ke bekunene nebafundisi. Umhlangano bawucala mhla ka-4 khona esigodlweni elisithini. Bayohamba nayo uzofika lesine mhla ka-6 ngakusasa sesivukele enkonzweni. Nekucela emakholwa ke nasaye emadelesini ngoba sicala kuyothandaza elisithini esigodlweni. Babe sebalapha nga-6:30 ngabo 6:45 siyangena esigodlweni. Nangelisonto kuphinde kube njalo ngoba kwelulile kushona le ndasi bekunene. Niugcine lo mthetho nasitela suke sitothandaza le makhosi sicala khona elisithini bese siyehla siyala siyobamba khona le nkonzo. Kanjalo ke nangemgcibelo mhlathi isiphohlo bomake basekhenyeni lakhe lalisithini kuyindlovu yemhlaba. Bafundisi basenkabezweni kuye umlisa esangweni lakhe bayobukisana ngelibhayibheli ukuthi lithini iBhayibheli. Ngelisonto sesile stadium ngemsombuluko mhla ka-10 bafundisi batoshatandla kuyindlovu yemhlaba batovalelisa. Mhla ka-11 bavalise elithithini bekunene. Mhla ka-11 sesiyawushatandla kuyomlisa ingwenyama msathu wesithathu lapho sekusho kuphela kwemsebenzi.
His Majesty's government will throw its weight behind the national service. This is an assurance that was given by the Home Affairs Minister, who began by applauding the unity that is being displayed by the three church bodies.
Sibonga kubona nje tinhlangano tekukholwa tihlangane kanye kanye tonke totinzathu tikhuluma livilinye sine siyajabula nje singihulumende kubona sive semaswati sihlangana siba munye lokho kusikhomba ukuthi litawuphila live thine singihulumende sidabe sikhona sitawubathutha emakholwa sente konke kusimanje nabantu okhona kuhlala kahle sesibhekele lo msebenzi wenkosi ukuthi uphumelele ezisingena ku Good Friday bekunene.
Njengoba ke simemetelo sesiphumile lapho khona emakhosi sekabusise inkonzo tekufanele kuvuka kwenkosi yethu uJesu. Sekaba ngona ke kukhuthata kwekuthi bazalwane bonke asambeni sewugubha lomkhosi.
The invitation to partake in one of the most important events in the calendar of the Christian faith was also extended by Archdeacon Begindlela Magongo of the Council of Eswatini Churches and the Chief Executive Officer of Eswatini Conference of Churches, Themba Ngozo. At Lutsitsini Royal Residence, I am Sandile Makanya for Eswatini TV.
The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Information, Communication and Technology, Pesha Dube, says the country needs a mobile food laboratory to address the challenges faced in determining food safety. The Principal Secretary was represented by the Undersecretary Macanjana Mota during a stakeholder engagement workshop by the Royal Science and Technology Park on the mobile food laboratory feasibility study held at Happy Valley, Eswatini.
The Royal Science and Technology Park has partnered with their counterparts from the Council of Science, Innovation and Research in South Africa to share ideas of how the feasibility study can be carried out.
This engagement serves to conduct a feasibility study to assess the potential, impact and economic viability of the mobile ISO 17025 accredited food safety testing laboratory in Eswatini along its food safety value chain.
Dr. Nomusa Dlamini, Acting Manager, Food Safety Program from the Council of Science, Innovation and Research, says food safety has become an integral part of society to prevent different sicknesses.
Khangelela ukuthi akula ma germs and esenza le research yokuthi sibone ukuthi singaku improve kanjani. Esikhathini esiningi ukuthi udla lokho kumele kuhlolwe ekuqaliseni. Ngenxa kuhlolwa sifuna ama laboratory alama instruments are advanced.
The World Health Organization estimates that in a year, 600 million people fall sick after eating contaminated food, resulting in 420,000 deaths. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Ngamandla, Mbongwa Dube, Ezulwini.
The Parliament of the Kingdom of Eswatini is minimizing the use of paper to save the environment. This was seen on Tuesday when senators were sent portfolio committee reports through email. In the past, legislators would carry home portfolio committee reports for 21 ministries, with each being about 30 pages.
Parliamentarians requested government to buy them laptops for purposes of reducing the use of paper. Results of this exercise are for all to see, as on Tuesday, senators were not given hard copies of portfolio committee reports on budget estimates for the coming financial year. The reports were emailed to each senator. In the past, each committee would table its report, and that report would be distributed to senators. Each report from the 21 portfolio committees would have as many as 30 pages. These were given to all 30 senators. Each senator would go home with a pile of 21 30 pages reports. No one knows what would happen to those reports after being read. The Eswatini Parliament is not the only one to move towards reducing the use of paper, as England has also done same. This is what the Inter-Parliament Union advocates for. The overall purpose is to save the environment. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela with Themba Shabangu, Parliament.
The Ministry of Agriculture will meet its counterparts in the Republic of South Africa in a bid to have agricultural produce import requirements relaxed for Eswatini. Some of these requirements are the production of a permit from the Department of Agriculture in South Africa and a phytosanitary certificate from the Ministry of Agriculture in Eswatini. Local SMEs trading near the Ngwenya border gate say the process is complicated.
Informal traders near the Ngwenya border gate say they have challenges selling their products to tourists who have to cross the border with agricultural produce, which include avocado and banana. This is due to the requirement of a permit and phytosanitary certificate to export certain agricultural products to South Africa.
Affectwa ngile ndzaba yokuthi noma ngabe le customer sesilitholile lelo lelithengathengako kuba nesikhathi uthole ukuthi ledindo sediyajikiswa lapha eborder sekuthiwa ipermit yethu maybe ayikho right nasithi siyaya e-research siyozama indzaba ipermit bathi siyenda online nasiyenda online uhamba mahala basitshele ukuthi ema-permit ethu ayafanana ukhanze ukuthi letindo asakhoni lokho ukuthi sitikhiphe la border noma ngabe sibangithengele lokho lebangithengele kona kusenekujikiswa lapha ekedeni babuye bathatha imali so ngaloko kusho ukuthi ngalamanye amagama sitogcina silala singahle.
The Ministry of Agriculture says it is addressing the matter.
Le office lakithi ke lase research lisemkhankasweni vele liyakhulumisana nelase South Africa besicele umhlangano nje urgently ukuthi sitozama ukuthi siaddress le issue le bathi ke the nearest available time labangaba naso ngomhla ka14 May kubili la lesikufuna ukukhulumisa siyasibona sithi ngomhlawumbe sekuthi bayinjinje imithetho kude ke lesingakwenda vele the sovereign state bangatikhethela kuyinjinja imithetho kodwa njengabo makhelwane sitha sesikhulumisana ukuthi sesingavele sikuthi dlimini noma mhlawumbe sesikuintroduce kancane avatilungiselela nalamaswati akithi ngala kwesibili sifuna kubuketa lama standards lawa labekiwe la.
The ministry says it is fully aware that the most affected are informal traders who cannot afford to have more costs to production, as that would have a significant impact on their profits. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela with Temba Shabangu, Mbabane.
Increase of sugar tariff rate quota. The Kingdom of Eswatini is an agricultural-based economy, and one of our top exports is sugar. Eswatini has over the years been exporting her sugar to the United States of America market under a tariff rate quota TRQ arrangement, which traditionally provided preferential terms for a minimum of 16,500 metric tons of raw sugar for refining per annum. It pleases His Majesty's government to announce that the U.S. government has extended an additional allocation to the quota for sugar TRQ to Eswatini for 2023. This exciting opportunity comes from the redistribution of unused raw sugar allocations in the financial year 2023 to countries with proven capacity to export raw sugar. The new total sugar TRQ for Eswatini this year is 21,992 metric tons, showing an increase of 4,719 metric tons. This figure constitutes about 27% increase from the minimum quota allocated to Eswatini. The government hopes that such reallocations can occur annually and eventually translate to a permanent increase of minimum quota allocation for sugar for Eswatini. The sugar industry has continuously demonstrated the ability to fulfill this quota and has expressed that it has the capacity to fulfill a permanent increase in this sugar quota. Such translates to increases in export earnings which go towards the growth of the economy. The statement is by the Honorable Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Senator Mancoba Khumalo. The government of the Republic of China, Taiwan, has capacitated extension officers from the Ministry of Agriculture on tilapia farming. The purpose is to increase the number of tilapia farmers in Eswatini. The Ministry of Agriculture says tilapia market is there in Eswatini. However, there are few suppliers.
The workshop was held at the Taiwan Technical Mission in Matsapa, where there were specialists from the Republic of China, Taiwan, who facilitated the training virtually. Taiwan Technical Mission Chief Fernando Yen says For now, the focus is not on the market.
We are hoping through our tilapia center produce loose fly, extend to farmer, let farmer to produce fish meat. I believe you know fish meat actually is the best meat for the healthy. So we are hoping the stage one, this project is a 4-year project. Stage one, we will only focus in how to supply more protein source to the kingdom of Eswatini people.
The Ministry of Agriculture says there is a need for more suppliers of fish to satisfy the local market.
Lokuthi kwakhiwe le research le eMalkens kwendela lokuthi kutokhona ukuthi sigcine sesithuthuka sigcine sikhona kumitha le market demand lefuneka kwetimfish, otherwise imarket yona ikhona.
The Food and Agriculture Organization says the demand for tilapia continues to grow globally, and this has a positive impact on farmers' profits. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela with Temba Shabangu, Matsapa.
The Examinations Council of Eswatini reminds parents and stakeholders of the deadlines of the payment of external examinations. In a proof statement, the Communications Officer Hlengiwe Ndlovu says the deadline for the payment of Form 3 external examinations is on the 31st of this month. The deadline for the payment of the external examinations for Grade 7 and Form 5 is 8 May this year. The Council appeals to stakeholders to properly reference all deposits to avoid candidates being classified as owing despite having paid. The Council has stressed that its bank accounts will no longer accept bank deposits that do not comply with the set referencing protocols. The Eswatini Higher Education Council is meeting different stakeholders throughout this week to get their contributions as they develop their policy. Speaking during a meeting at Mountain View in Mbabane, the Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Loretta Mkonta, says the policy seeks to address a number of issues, including how blended and online learning can be incorporated within the council.
Higher education sector is a newly regulated sector. It still has a lot of challenges, so we need a policy to help in that regulation. There are many issues on the ground that are a challenge that are not covered in any other framework but they must now be covered in the policy framework. So there are a lot of changes in the sector. We see online learning, we must be innovative in the sector. All that must be regulated by a policy. It must guide us and the institutions on how to do that. It must bring in other players to participate in the sector.
The Managing Director of Emmanuel Consulting, George Maimala, says some of the participants have already shared their views on the policy.
The other one is around the issue of how do we structure higher education? For example, we sit with people who have experience as a plumber, for example, and that person has never been to varsity or to college. But how do we ensure that we recognize that prior learning so that they get a qualification at the end of the day? Because when they look for work, even though they've got the experience, usually workplaces look for experience.
Some of the stakeholders expected to make contributions to the policy include the business community, non-governmental organizations, and government ministries. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Ngamandla, Mbongwa Dube, Mbabane.
5 young people have shared 10,000 amalangeni each in the MTN SEDCO Cijanga Business Program. Speaking during the presentation at SEDCO headquarters in Mbabane, MTN Foundation's chairperson Busisiwe Smelane has reaffirmed the foundation's commitment to support the youth, stating that they can play a major role in uplifting the country's economy.
This project also, it looks at people who are already entrepreneurs and those who are looking at being entrepreneurs but maybe have the fear of the unknown. But a program like this gives them the confidence. It's a program that will hold you by the hand and make you realize that it is doable. I can do it. And if you are doing it, you realize that I can do better. There's something that I can improve in what I am doing.
SEDCO Chief Executive Officer Khethiwe Mhlanga congratulated the entrepreneurs.
We can actually acknowledge that now, so far as we've gone on with this program, MTN has donated over 1 million towards Gcichange business. And through that, we have 20 entrepreneurs who have won, I would say a total of now 200,000 emalangeni as working capital. And we have managed at SEDCO to, through this program, to provide training for 100 entrepreneurs over the past 5 years.
The winners have expressed gratitude to MTN Foundation and SEDCO.
Lethuba leli ngisomabhizinisi lomncane lokhulako lisite kakhulu ikakhulu la ekufundzeni kabanti nge-record keeping. Ngiyalo nje ibhizinisi yami sengihambile ngabuyela phasi ngaphenze ngalungisa lapho lekufanele ngilungise khona.
Le mali itangisita ekukhuphuleni ibhizinisi yami ngilokhona ukucupha because ngihlangana nema-challenges ukuthi ngibabethe imali ukucupha.
The 2020 post-COVID-19 recovery plan states that only 11% of the 59,000 small and medium enterprise holders have attended formal training. Such programs are meant to bridge that gap. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Mbongwa Dube, Mbabane.
Dear viewers, now take a look at our financial updates.
Can be.
Welcome back. You're still watching Eswatini TV. Now, Sports Roundup. We begin with the national team Sihlangu Samnikade that has lost their second leg of the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers against Cape Verde at Mbombela Stadium in the Republic of South Africa. Sihlangu's defeat means that they are still winless in Group B, having collected only 2 points in 4 games.
And in our Sports Roundup, Sihlangu Samnikade are still winless in their Group B of the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers after the defeat against Cape Verde by 1-0 in their second leg of the two nations who played a goalless draw last week Friday in Cape Verde. Ryan Mendes' goal in the second half ensured that Cape Verde have now 7 points in 4 games, 5 points ahead of Sihlangu in their group, who are number 3 with 2 points. There was a chance for Sihlangu to level the matter in the game when Sabiro Zeniza failed to score a penalty as the game ended 1-0. 2 more rounds of fixtures are left, with Sihlangu yet to face Burkina Faso away and also be able to host Togo in their final match. The 2 games will be played later this year. Moving on in golf, the Eswatini Golf Union, through the Office of the Development Officer Meshak Zwane, has urged parents to give their full trust to local golf coaches if they are to see their children shining in the sport. Zwane believes interference of the parents at times fails the children progress.
The challenge that you normally come across, the involvement of parents, but they just want to take center stage and not leave the kid with the coach. So basically they give you the kid, but they don't really trust you. And sometimes you get these kids, they come in, you see the talent, but they just being told by the parents, you mustn't listen to this Swazi thing. You know, there are better coaches out there and it's killing the kids. Let's first produce the product and then see if we can pass it over to better coaches. But all I can say, I'm very grateful with the Masugus. They brought the kid to me and they said, this is your child. Give us, and you can see the results today.
And in our international news, Morocco head coach Walid Regragui has urged his team to begin thinking of winning the Africa Cup of Nations for their very first time in 47 years, and later on begin to think of conquering the world by reaching the World Cup final as the first ever African nation. Regragui revealed this after watching his side edging Brazil by 2-1 in a friendly match over this past weekend.
That is all we had for tonight, but before we wrap up, we'll take a quick recap of today's headlines. The Magistres have blessed the hosting of the National Easter Service for this year. Their Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Information, Communication and Technology says the country needs a mobile food laboratory to address the challenges faced in determining food safety. The Ministry of Agriculture will meet its counterparts in the Republic of South Africa in a bid to have agricultural produce import requirements relaxed for Eswatini. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin tonight. Up next is the weather forecast for selected towns. Good night, Eswatini.